Okay, it looks like we have everyone logged on. So thank you for attending today's webinar, Pivot Your Ag Business, which will cover how to overcome challenging years and circumstances impacting your feed and grain business. I'm your moderator, Elise Schaefer, editor of Feed and Grain Magazine. And today's speakers are Kevin Claussen and Joel Solinger with Bushel. Before we begin, I want to cover a few things. Today's webinar is scheduled for 1 hour, and our speakers have about a 40-minute presentation prepared. So we will have time for questions throughout the webinar. Please use the chat feature in Zoom to enter your questions at any time. If you're new to Zoom, you can access the chat window by hovering your mouse near the bottom of your screen. A series of tiles will appear, and you simply click on the chat bubble icon to launch your chat window. Your questions will remain anonymous and can only be seen by myself and the panelists. But please feel free to send them at any time, and I'll relay them to Kevin and Joe right away. Please be specific if your question refers to a particular slide so our presenter can go back and refer to your question. And finally, today's webinar will be recorded for you to watch on demand and share with your colleagues, so look for an email from Zoom in the coming days. So with that, I'll turn things over to Kevin.
Thank you, Elise, and thank you, Feed and Grain, for this opportunity to talk about Bushel. And special thanks to all of the attendees. Really look forward to a conversation today and to continue the conversation at any point into the future. So again, I'm Kevin Claussen. I'm the sales manager here at Bushel. I originally grew up in Iowa, farm kid back here. I actually live and work back in Iowa. I started my career in the ag industry with Cargill and spent 11 years with them in the feed and grain merchandising space. And then I went to Flint Hills Resources, where I led their grain and origination trading business for their 7 ethanol plants, which is where I got to know Bushel. And I came to Bushel in January because I'm super passionate about trying to accelerate the adoption of technology in the ag space to really help take our industry to the next level. So really excited to talk about that opportunity today.
Hey, good morning, Joe Solinger. Thanks, Elise. Thanks, Feed and Grain. I joined Bushel here about 8 months ago as a business development executive. So I grew up in southern Minnesota, where I live again now on just a small dairy farm. I always say I got my driver's license, and 2 days later I got my first job in the grain business at the local grain elevator here in town, and kind of fell in love with it and have been with it ever since. Worked at co-ops dumping trucks during college, went to Gavilon Grain right out of school, was at a co-op up in North Dakota for a few years, kind of running the grain side of the business, and then went to Flint Hills Resources, where I was buying corn into a couple ethanol plants, and then transitioned to buying and selling DDG kind of in the western half of the state. So have kind of bounced around the industry and seen it from a few different angles. And a common theme for me especially has always been, there's got to be ways to use technology to make the way we do business easier in this industry. And I was always frustrated with my what tools I had in my professional life were different than tools I was using in my personal life. And after getting to know and work with Bushel, I was at Flint Hills for a couple of years. The opportunity was right for me to kind of come over and hopefully help advance that in some more parts of the industry. So appreciate your time this morning.
Okay, so what we'll cover today, we'll go through Bushel, the company, and we'll go deep on Bushel product platform. We'll also just talk about, the challenging year of 2020 and how Bushel may be able to partner with your company to help you guys continue to move your business forward. We'll touch on the increasing role of tech in solving problems in agriculture, and we'll really drill in on a couple of key focus areas for you to think about. And then most importantly, we would welcome at any point in time any questions or comments throughout the presentation or at the end, so we could continue the conversation. So Bushel is an ag tech company. We started in 2011, and we're based out of Fargo, North Dakota. We have over 180 employees that are all focused on the ag tech industry. So at the end of the day, we're really focused on trying to bring software solutions to this industry and grow deeply with our customer partnerships to help you guys advance your business. And really related to what Joe mentioned, how can we take what's working elsewhere in other industries and really bring it into agriculture to take agriculture to the next level? Do we have a question by any chance? I see someone has raised their hand. Okay. Again, don't hesitate to stop me if you do have a question. So just a comment here from McKinsey Global Institute. Ag is the least digitized major industry. So that's something that I really believe, and it's a big part of why I'm at Bushel. I want to bring my experiences from the agriculture industry into Bushel to really help us accelerate trying to build the products and solutions that this industry needs to help us really advance the embrace and adoption of technology. Here's another quote that I'd like to share from Cargill's CEO, just really highlighting this opportunity. So the IT department would be the best place to put $1 and get 2 back faster than anywhere else you could spend $1 in the company. And I think that just really exemplifies the importance of ensuring that as you're looking at capital investments into your business, make sure you give a hard look at where you could invest in technology. And we'll really touch on some of those opportunities today. And another point we really want to make sure we make clear is Bushel is really focused on becoming a partner with your company to help you build out this digital infrastructure. So we focus heavily on the ag space, and we get the opportunity to work with all sectors of agriculture. And we think that really positions us well to get to know our customers, really learn about what your challenges are and what your opportunities are, so that we can help either offer you some of our products that we have off the shelf, or partner with you to build solutions that help you really advance your digital infrastructure. So Bushel's vision is to connect and enhance the agriculture industry through digital infrastructure. And one of the ways that we achieve this vision is by ensuring that we really focus on customer-driven innovations. So it really comes down to building that partnership, getting to know the industry, getting to know the customers to make sure that we're continuing to innovate in the right areas and at the right pace. And we'll talk about that today as we talk about some of the changes that 2020 has thrown at our industry. There's 2 real key pieces to Bushel, the company. We have the Bushel platform, which we will go in depth on today around our products to serve the grain and feed and agriculture industry. And then we have another big piece of our business, which is called Bushel Solutions. And this is where we build customized solutions for customers across the agriculture industry. One of those solutions areas that I'll touch on is a company called Roger. So Roger is a hopper truck transportation company that is a really unique partnership across the Andersons, Cargill, CGB, Koch, Schooler, and Bushel. And for those of you in this industry, you understand logistics is a big pain point for all of us. And this company has come together, and these partners have come together and are using the Bushel platform to bring a really innovative solution to the hopper truck industry, really allowing the industry to go paperless and to be digital in the Bushel cloud, really enhancing the experience between origin and destination. So for any customer that would have interest in learning more about Roger, I'd encourage you can look us up online, but I would welcome anybody to reach out to us. But this is just an example of the breadth and depth of the solutions capability that we may be able to bring to your company, and we're really focused on bringing to the industry.
Thanks, Kevin. So I'm just going to pop in a little bit deeper on some of the Bushel platform here and some of the products that Kevin kind of was referring to earlier. I'm not going to go through like an in-depth demo on any of them. I'll go through each of them, but to the extent you have more interest, like Kevin said, hit us up. We can do a demo that's more tailored specifically to your business for whatever pieces maybe make sense. So first off is the Bushel powered app. That's probably the most well-known thing that we have in the industry. It's the one that people maybe think of us as and what we maybe started in the industry with. I mean, think about about, something that's branded to your company specifically that can give your customer their account information. It can give you a way to, rifle marketing information into their pockets, make it so that when they check their Facebook, they check their Twitter, and then they check your company's app to see a scale ticket, right? Or to maybe sign a contract. You see the list of features along the side there, but those are all things that we can use by integrating into your system. We can provide some of that information for you to be able to share to your customer and make that relationship a little bit easier. Talk about how you would manage it. The next step is the admin side, right? This is how your company can actually manage that. From in here, this is where you can send those push notifications. They're going to pop up right inside the app. They're not a text. They're not an email. They're right part of the app. So they click on it, they get drilled right into the app. Obviously, this is where you can manage some cash bid updates, as you're changing basis or whatever. It's where you can manage the sending of documents for electronic signature. It's also a spot where we have what we call Data Viewer, and Data Viewer is all about giving you online access to the same information that your customers get through the Bushel portal. So things like contracts, balances, tickets, settlements, all those same things that the farmer can now see on their phone, you've got online access to as well. So if you think about this time of year, maybe, right, harvest, or any Saturday, if you're open receiving, but maybe the office isn't open, this would be an online spot where people in your organization will be able to go get balances for farmers as they're driving down the road and they're calling, talking to you. You can pull this up on an iPad at home or whatever, and you can have that information, which might be a little bit easier access that way versus through having to get logged into your system. So obviously another thing that we would provide is reports and analytics. So think about this as a place for you to be able to see what's available to your customers, or what they're actually using it for. So you can see where are they looking at cash bids, what kind of screen views do we have on our notifications, who's logged in, those types of things, so that you have good information to make a decision about what's working with the app, what needs to maybe be updated with the app. The next thing I want to talk through is our offer management system. So think about the offer management system as a place for you to manage your offers from, taking it from the farmer all the way through the hedge that goes with it. In this spot, you'd be able to have the farmer put an offer in if you wanted to allow them that. They can put the offer in, they can acknowledge it. You get it sent to your system, and in your computer, then in one window, you can manage that whole offer all the way through the chain. You can manage any basis changes associated with it, which are going to automatically update the futures order that's out there against it. So hopefully within this, you can, save the manual work that goes with traditional, how people maybe traditionally managed offers, which would be, Post-it notes, Excel sheets, notebooks, that type of thing, and have it all in one spot. We don't force your trades to go to any one FCM. This is totally agnostic. So whoever you're trading with today or putting your futures with today, we can do that right through the offer system.
Joe, I have a question here. I'm going to chime in. Is Bushel an extension of blockchain platform?
So today, no. Bushel is not using blockchain. Our technology is all built around kind of current technology and integrations, which we'll talk about a few slides down. But we are not integrated to blockchain today.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can see these stats here, but I did just want to touch real quick on a couple other things that are products that we've got within Bushel. One would be just a Bushel powered website. So, think just a website, your web presence to your growers. We've got quite a few customers that are using our websites to have kind of a new, clean feeling website to be able to put out in front of their customers. And then another thing that I just touch on is what we call Bushel Connect. And Bushel Connect is all about, taking data within the industry and transferring it in a way that it can be used. So standardize that data, be able to share it with a counterparty. So, we talked a lot about the app and how it can help you transfer data between yourself and a farmer. Connect is really about kind of two counterparties in the ag industry being able to transfer data in a way that can be easy for both sides and less manual. So, think less paper tickets, less PDFs, more actual data being transferred that's in a format that both sides can actually use, instead of getting an Excel dump from maybe one side and then not being able to share it, with the other side because it's formatted wrong. So that's kind of what Connect is all about. You see here some stats on the Bushel platform. So we've got just shy of 1,500 bushel powered grain locations out there, which is just over 150 customers. We just topped 33,000 growers, and we continue to see more and more farmers logging on and using it. I mean, obviously 2020 has been a pretty wild year, and people are looking for new avenues to do business, and this has been one really good tool for a lot of our customers to stay engaged with their customers, stay top of mind with them when maybe they're not doing they're doing less of the farm visits or grower meetings or whatever. So I mentioned integrations a little bit earlier, and the integrations are kind of like the secret sauce that makes it work, right? So you see a big list of different groups that we have integrated with, but think of integrations as Bushel goes, we get the data and we standardize it in a way that we can share it, right? We maybe get it from multiple sources, we bring it all together. Obviously this is what enables the Connect I was just talking about as well. You see the note in the top right, we believe in collaboration, right? What I like to say is, like, Bushel plays well with others, right? We're all about, how do we get data from multiple sources that your company needs and put it all in kind of a user-friendly format that you can then, that you can actually use and then use to drive your business.
All right. Well, I get to talk about the great year of 2020. So I just really want to take a moment to reflect. So I've been in the ag industry for almost 20 years. And 2020 has been something that I've just simply never experienced before. Obviously, walking into January, we had all kinds of trade disruptions, and then COVID, and COVID just really flipped the industry on its head, between supply chain disruptions, uncertainty around the ethanol space with gasoline demand and travel disruptions, and then trying to think about how to run an ag industry that is very much relationship based, very much hands-on, very much face-to-face, remotely. And that has just been very challenging and has been tough on everybody at a personal and professional level. And some of the biggest takeaways for me is just that first point there. The ag supply chain never stops. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways for all of us, is just the importance of ensuring that the ag supply chain continues to move forward. And, it has just been a very, very significant challenge for everybody to try to ensure that we continue to do that in an efficient and productive way while taking care of our customers. So it has been quite an adjustment going back to the end of Q1, getting everybody either working from home or with limited staff, or trying to do things paperless, touchless, over the phone, over the computer. And that's been just a big journey for a lot of us. And it's been exciting to be able to be part of Bushel, and for our existing customers to be able to help them really fully utilize all of the tools in their toolbox that Bushel has partnered with them to help provide. And it's been really exciting to be able to have conversations like this, where we're able to show potential new customers how Bushel may be able to help bring technology and allow us to achieve our goals of continuing to grow, continuing to partner with our customers, but do it in maybe a little bit more remote or digital fashion than what we ever envisioned. So one of the themes we really think about is 2020 has really brought the technology future forward. It's really caused companies to have to take a step back and think about how to do things a little bit differently. And one of the things we're excited about is technology can be one of those ways where you can really stay connected with your customer and your coworkers who may be working more remote than anything we've experienced before. And it's really about that last bullet point of how can Bushel partner with your company, your other technology providers, to be able to help conduct business in a more efficient manner while continuing to keep customer service a top priority. So just the theme again, business must go on, as we all know. The livestock needs to be fed, the crops need to be planted, the crops need to be harvested, and the exports need to be shipped all across the globe. And as I mentioned, a common goal for all of our customers are, how can we get more paperless? How can we get more touchless? How can we keep drivers in their trucks? How can we minimize some of the unnecessary walk-in traffic while still ensuring that we're building our market share, we're building relationships with customers? Because again, the ag industry is still very much a relationship-based industry. And as Joe mentioned, the access to information while employees are working remotely is just more important than ever. And one of the areas I'm just most passionate about is having access to my customers' information while I'm at my kids' football game allows me to still be able to take that phone call from the farmer and give them their scale ticket balance or resolve an issue or a question that they may have about their contract position or weights and grades, because I'm able to do it via a mobile device versus having to take my laptop and go log in via VPN at a local McDonald's so that I can answer that customer's question and they can continue to run their business. And it's something that seems pretty simple, but it's an area that's still a gap in our industry. And that's something that I'm pretty excited about, where Bushel can help solve that. Because as we mentioned, communication between, purchasers and sellers and origins and destinations is just paramount. See, we've got a question here. Go ahead, Sadru, with your question.
Yes, Sadru's asking, does Bushel provide ag research reports?
So what Bushel does do is, to Joe's point, our secret sauce is we bolt on to your existing technology platform called, ERP is standard name for kind of the back office system. And to be clear, we're not generating new information. We're taking existing information that exists and we put it in a much more user-friendly format, which does include reporting, summaries, consolidated detail. But we're not actively out doing industry-wide research or industry-wide analysis and then reproducing that back in the marketplace. But happy to discuss that in more detail. Yeah, you bet. So, just related to the challenging year of 2020, it has really brought to light the need to pivot and bring that technology vision forward. The time to do that is now. There's been just so much uncertainty and to be honest, just flat out frustration, really, from the farmer through the processor, through the rancher, through the logistics supply chain. It has just caused a lot of challenge and just a lot of uncertainty. And I would just encourage everyone to really think about, how can you bring technology solutions forward in your business to try to help you grow and try to work through some of these ongoing challenges. A couple of comments, from our perspective, we really believe that investing in the right tools can help you address your immediate needs, but also really set a foundation for future growth to ensure that you're in a good competitive position to maintain your market share and then ultimately grow it. And we think three key areas of benefit from technology are, first and foremost, just improving the interface between you and your customer in a digital way. And back to that car deal reference, we think there's an immediate ROI of providing that digital transparency between you and your customer. I mean, really think about your banking experience. It has really evolved how you interface with your bank and really streamlined how you're able to handle a massive amount of transactions and a massive amount of information in a really seamless way. And then just the last comment to touch on, I mean, it's a relatively low barrier to entry to invest in technology. In the ag industry, we're often faced with, multi-million-dollar capital investments around infrastructure and equipment and maybe speed and space from a grain receiving standpoint or milling equipment for a feed mill. And those are all requirements and they're all very necessary, but they come with a very significant price tag and a very significant depreciation. And one of the things we'd encourage you to think about is how could you invest at a much lower barrier to entry in technology to advance your business?
Yeah. So as you think about the pivot to maybe investing more in in technology or in digitization, as Kevin talked about. I mean, to me, what we're going to talk about kind of next is that business to customer coordination, right? How do you make it so that it's easy for your customers to do business with you, easier to do business with you than someone else, because that, to me, that's the egg business that's going to win, the one that the customers are the default is to do business with them. And to me, I think the three buckets that go in there are, more efficient transaction, right? It's all about how do you make it so that there's less manual work for both sides. The next one is transparency, right? Both sides can see the current state of whatever is going on, whatever both counterparties have. And then the last one is kind of obvious, but I do want to call it out. It's communication, right? I mean, people are communicating differently today than they were a year ago and than they were 10 years ago. And that's our industry and everywhere else. But I think it's worth, thinking through that bucket as you think about, a pivot to investing more in tech. So we talked about more efficient transactions, right? So in our industry, a lot of times, transactions start with market data, right? They start with information, a price, a cash price, a futures price, whatever that is, a current price. That information, if you can use technology to get that price as at least a starting point in front of a customer, so that when the phone call starts, both sides already know where you're starting, that can lead to a more efficient transaction. Perhaps maybe 358 is the number. I see it, I call, I get my number, right, and then that transaction's done. But using it, maybe 358. I've been talking with my grain buyer about it, and 375 is kind of what makes sense. And I've maybe talked to an advisor and bank or whatever, and I'm sitting in my kid's soccer game, and I want to, 375 for next year is a pretty good number. I want to lock in 5% of my production, right? I can go put that offer in right through here, even if it's 8 o'clock at night. I can get that in and do the, what I call like the data part of that transaction, right? I can do all that. I can enter my 2,000 bushels or 20,000 bushels, and I can do my price, and I can say how long I want it to work for. I can do all those kind of detail-oriented things just from my phone. I can see it. I can confirm it. Both sides have it all day long and going forward. And that way, maybe tomorrow when I do talk to my grain buyer, who I have a relationship with, and honestly, I think, the relationship with that counterparty is probably more important today than ever, not less. That way I can focus that conversation on something more strategic, right? That next level thing, because the data part is done and has been keyed. And then the next step of, kind of transparency in a transaction is going to be around e-sign, right? So getting a contract signed is something that people are going to struggle with in our industry, have always struggled with, right? So you're talking about chasing contracts that didn't come back. You're talking about, managing a report of unsigned contracts. Just that management can take time. And by being able to use electronic signature, hopefully you can cut down that time, the direct cost immediately, right? So say your process today is enter contract, print, sign, stuff, stamp, send, right? Through this, you can enter contracts, upload the PDF, send it to sign it, and you can have that back in, minutes, instead of maybe weeks that you'd end up with the paper trail. And that contract now comes back, you've got it, life's good, move on to the next thing. And then also in kind of the real tense scenario, right? I'm on whatever the end of my limit to get this contract back, and I haven't got it yet. In my experience, I spent way too much time driving around on that last day trying to get those contracts signed. And with this, I just upload that PDF. I call the farmer and say, hey, click your notification and sign this thing. I need it right now. It can get done that fast. So I think more and more we're going to see e-sign used in our industry. I think we're already seeing that, especially over the last 6 months. I mean, our customers have really increased e-sign usage, and I think we're going to continue to see that grow. So the next bucket we talked about is transparency, right? And that's kind of been a theme through everything we've talked about here. But business transparency is really, I think about it like, how do you let your customers see their account information with you the same way they could go see their bank account, right? You got to have 24/7 access, and you got to have access to what matters, right? It's what we talked about: tickets, contracts, settlements, the stuff that they're making decisions off of, its balances, those types of things. If they're going to expect more and more our customers are going to expect that ability. Doesn't mean they're not still going to want to talk to you. Doesn't mean they're not going to still want to call you and even talk about balances sometimes. This is all about, give them the freedom to have the choice of how to do it, back to being the one that's easy to do business with. And then, the other thing that comes with business with transparency is just the reduced risk of errors, right? So the sooner that the counterparty sees the data that you have entered, the sooner they can say, hey, that's not what I said, right? The 15,000 versus 50,000 bushel error, right? The, run my offer through Friday versus next Friday, or, or maybe scale ticket is, supposed to switch out of my farm name and into my personal name, but the driver forgot, right? All those things get expensive if you have to fix them down the road versus if you can, they get expensive to fix further away. The sooner to when the problem happened that you can fix it, the less cost that error is going to have. Then the last bucket we talked about is communication, right? It's how do you provide, the omni-channel is kind of the buzzword, right? But how do you communicate with your customer in many ways so that you're getting them the information they need in whatever way they want to consume it? And notifications have been a really big one that we've seen people have a lot of success with. As think of a notification as, it's like a text, right? Except it does live within the app. As a farmer, I can go manage it. I can go reference it. I can, as a merchant, I can send links out. I can send, I can send links to newsletters. I can send discount schedule changes, policy changes, harvest hours. I mean, those are all things that we're seeing our customers use them for today. And it's a good way to, I think I mentioned it earlier, right? But it's rifle versus shotgun. It's a good way to send that information direct to that customer instead of just blast it out into the marketplace and hope the right person receives it.
Yeah, what we want to focus on now is just the idea of really consider Bushel as your technology partner. As we've been talking about throughout this conversation, we're very much interested in having customer-focused innovations that continue to help build out our platform. And it really all starts with the relationship. So today's just an example of having conversations across the industry, helping build that relationship to make sure we're connecting people to who we are as a company and where we're trying to go. And it ultimately starts with sitting down with customers and looking for common needs across the industry that we can help solve for. And as I mentioned, we're really trying to understand your business needs. So one of the first steps in the process is, guys like Joe and I, we're happy to come to your facility if we can do it safely, but we're also happy to do it over Zoom, where we get to know each other. We talk about what your goals and your needs are, and we talk about what existing technology platforms you're using. And then we can help identify where might there be some additional Bushel products that we could bolt on to your existing platforms, and where might there be some customized solutions that we could help partner with you to build to help you advance your technology platform within your company. And as Joe mentioned, one of the big ideas to think about is just that concept of the theme of connect. We think Bushel is very powerful about helping connect across your company, but then across your customer base, and then across other players within the industry. So when you think about Bushel, really think about us as a product company, a solutions company with the theme of bringing transparency to your existing customer base, and then bringing connectivity to the other players across the supply chain that you're doing business with. And just a last point to lead you with is one of the benefits of partnering with Bushel is, we're invested in the agriculture industry across all aspects of it. And we're going to continue to invest heavily in what we call these customer-led innovations. And being on the Bushel platform is going to give you access to that critical mass of solutions that we're building and we're connecting our customers with. But it's also the ideas that our customers are bringing us. We're constantly getting really good feedback about, hey, here's another problem. Bushel, can you help me with this? And that's something that makes me really excited because, as Joe and I had mentioned, we've grown up in this industry, and I'm a farmer and a livestock producer today. And it just excites me to think about where technology can be in the ag industry over the next 1, 3, 5 years. And another comment that I really want to make sure hits home is it's really about the service after the sale. So I'm excited about our products and our solutions, but something that I'm most excited about is the continued investment that we make with our customers. I was on a call with a customer that we sold a product to about 6 months ago, and I just checked in, and it was so overwhelming, his positive feedback about, hey, Kevin, I'm really blown away by what we call our customer success team. So if you partner with Bushel, you'll be assigned a customer success manager that's really focused on making sure you're getting maximum utilization out of all of the tools on the Bushel platform. And we help with adoption, we help with marketing, we help with training. And that's something that we think really sets ourselves apart from other technology providers in the industry, is our investment in ensuring that you understand and utilize the tools that you're buying. And that's something that ensures that, we're doing two things. One, we're continuing to earn your business year after year, but we're also getting that direct feedback around areas where we need to improve our performance. And we maybe need to adjust our roadmap because as we're talking to all of our customers, we'll pick up on themes of where we need to invest some more resources to close an unexpected gap that's been identified.
So I just want to kind of talk a little bit about some of the things that have come from those partnerships, right? So we've talked a lot about some of our current products and current feature set, and a big chunk of that has come from feedback, but I just want to share a couple that we're working on today. So our business intelligence tool is, think about it as a dashboard where you can see, quick, easy access to the information you're using to make decisions every day, right? It's, think about stuff like, what did I dump yesterday? What's my October position look like? Stuff that you're pulling that information today. Our BI tool is all about putting that information in an easy to read format, and then maybe summarizing that for a month-end report, or summarizing it for a quarter-end report. So not only can you have it to make better decisions off of today, it's also a ready to go report that you can share out within your company as it makes sense. And then the next thing I just touch on is just a couple of features that have come directly from customer feedback that we've been working on recently. So summaries is one of them, right? It's, I'm looking at my tickets and I filter it down to just the corn that I hauled in 2019, and I want to sum it up quick, right? I can hit summary and I can see my average moisture on that corn. I can see, total how many bushels were hauled that way and how many tickets it's across. And then statements is another one. So statements are all, give your customer access to that statement information, not just some booking or prepaid information. And that's something that we're working on today. And it's something that came directly from one of our current customers that's asking, here's another problem I need help solving. I don't want to have to be sending these mailers that get set on a shelf somewhere and don't get looked at till the next time it rains. How can we put that within the app as well? So a couple cool new things that we're working on coming from the customer.
So in closing, we've obviously covered a lot of material here in a fairly rapid way. So what we definitely love to do is, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to have some conversation on this call. And I for sure would welcome, we'll share our contact information, but I would welcome one-on-one conversations. We're happy to do in-depth Zoom demos of our product suite, and we're happy to talk about where we may be able to be a solutions provider from a technology standpoint for your company. So, please, we would welcome the opportunity to have a direct conversation. But as you think about what we've talked about today, and you think about the challenges that you have experienced throughout your career, but most notably here in 2020, what are you and your teams doing differently, and what challenges are you facing that Bushel may be able to help solve? Or just from an open-ended standpoint, what questions at all do you have for Joe or I? And again, thank you for joining today, and appreciate the questions that we've had.
Yes, thank you so much, Kevin and Joe. We appreciate your presentation. It was very insightful and full of information that people can put into use right away. like Kevin said, we do have time for questions, so I will keep monitoring that chat window here. I do have a question. Do you have any information on the farmer feedback that they have given to your customers?
Yeah, great question. So we get a very significant amount of direct farmer feedback directly to us at Bushel, but most importantly to the companies that the farmers are doing business with. And the message is just overwhelmingly positive around, man, I can't believe how much of a game changer this has been. It's allowed me to go paperless. It's allowed me to make more real-time decisions. I can sit in the combine and I can pull up tickets and see myself what that last truck weights and grades and moisture were. Or I don't have to worry about losing an envelope that I just threw on my desk because I only look at the mail maybe twice a month on Saturday afternoons when I'm farming. Just the digital transparency and peace of mind that this has brought to farmers, feed customers, truck drivers is super powerful. Great question, but definitely happy to go into a lot more detail about some of the immediate ROI, return on investment, that our customers see by providing that digital transparency. And then the other thing to think about is, Bushel is about helping, your app, your website really be the landing place for your customers. That more of that one-stop shop where your customers are spending a significant amount of their time getting market data, getting weather information, getting, pricing information, and getting their transactional information. Really getting them, zippered to you as a company is one of the themes that we hear as well.
The other thing I would piggyback just on the customer feedback question would be, I would suggest people head out to the bushelpowered.com website. There's quite a few case studies from our current customers where you can see some of that feedback direct from them.
Excellent. And that website is www.bushelpowered.com. We have that here on the last slide, as well as Kevin's information and Joe's information. So please feel free to call or email either of them with more questions. It looks like we are all out of questions at this time. So I just want to thank everyone for their time today. Thank you for spending time with Bushel and Feed and Grain. And you know where to reach them if you have any further questions. Keep your eyes peeled in your inbox for a link to today's video for you to watch on demand and share with your friends and colleagues. Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.